Yo,
Yo, what up, what up, what up, man? Back at it
what's
again.
good? I already know what it is. CC
Yes,
Smack
sir.
podcast in your ears right now.
Hey, episode 229. I thank God that I'm able to, get back on the mic and bless y'all with just some finance updates.
Hey man, I thank God we not like Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, man. I heard Shannon Sharp getting bought out of Undisputed on FS1.
Hey, my brother, if you getting bought out of CC Smack, I'm gonna be happy for you, man. Because at the end of the day, this is business. So look, I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Nah, but yo, episode 229. Like Toby said, man, we thankful to be back again. Thankful to be back on the mic. It's always just refreshing to be able to fellowship with my brother and just also let the world hear what we have to speak about.
Yeah, and it's an exciting time. Right? Well, I'm not going to say exciting. It might be a little scary time because if they don't, if we break through that debt ceiling, that might be a catastrophic uh, state of the economy. So we're gonna get into that. But before we get into that, we just want to thank God for allowing us to be here once again. Thank God for our listeners. Um, so let's go ahead and get a people a personal update. How you been, my brother?
Man, I've been cool, man. I can't complain. Like you said, man, just working through all the chaos of the current financial current financial atmosphere that we're in. The climate has changed a lot over the last, year, 2 years. And like you said, man, things are showing more than ever, credit tightening, car market, the home mortgage rates are still up above 7%. But somehow we hanging on by a thread as a country.
Hey man, I'm asking how you doing on a personal level, man. You talking about statistics of the economy.
Yo, no, I'm putting it all into perspective. Is that, man? It's just we're just grateful, to be able to be in a position, that we're in, to be on the podcast, and we could be homeless, man. It could be a lot worse things happening. So I think that I just want to show gratitude. That's basically what that was about.
Uh-huh. Well, hey man, I'm grateful as well. I'm in downtown Baltimore, so I've been doing a lot more networking, meeting a lot more people. And look, man, look, there was this healing phase where I think right now I'm just in a really good space. I've been going to therapy. Shout out to my therapist. I use betterhelp.com. So I do virtual therapy. And look, I don't want to hear nothing. All right. Like we didn't had a lot of time. I'm only human, So hey, and you know what I'm talking about, Josh. Hey, respect to everybody out there, but hey, man, we out here living life, So I'm just, I'm just healing up. In terms of business has been tough, bro. I bought this barbershop, and I mean, one thing I didn't take into consideration is, yo, these new school barbers, they can be some divas, you
Mm.
know. What I mean by that is everybody has a following on social media. Everybody's using the enhancements. So when you're trying to curate this barbershop idea that I'm trying to curate, it's tough because you don't want to just bring in anybody just because you're charging low booth rent. You want to bring in somebody that you think has ambition and you could tap into that ambition. You could help them out. So still trying to figure out, how to launch this barbershop, but it's going to come together. I've been having some interviews, met some people that have been giving me some really good advice. So, hey, if you're listening out there and you're a barber in the Baltimore, Maryland, Baltimore County area specifically, yo, holla at me, man. I'm trying to create something that's a little bit different from everything that you got out there. And I would love to, if I could get a referral from CC Smack, for sure, man. I would love to, get somebody in my shop that listens to the podcast and was like, yo, I'm a barber out here. So let me know. Other than that, bro, I'm in a good mood, man. I can't complain.
Hey, I gotta ask though, for possibly anyone who may inquire, how rigorous are the interviews for these barber chairs, these
Hey,
slots
bro,
in the
I be
shop?
I be I be feeding these ungrateful niggas, man. Nah, no bull. It's like, it's an informal thing. Like when I think of a barbershop, I think of that atmosphere, and it's not like a suit and tie type of thing. It's like,
Right.
yo, meet me at a bar. We catch a bite. I want to get to know who you are. I want to get to know your vision for, where you see yourself in the next couple of years. I want to get to know some of your struggles. I want to get to know why you trying to leave your current shop, because some people, if it's just, oh, I don't like it because they raised the rent. Well, hey, on a commercial lease, that rent is getting raised at least annually. So, there's always a chance that increase could be passed down to some of the tenants. So yeah, I'm just trying to get to know the barber and see if my vision aligns with theirs. But it's definitely informal.
Yeah, man. If you want to increase your chances, send over a couple old fashioned to Toby's way, and that may help your chance. Just put that out
Hey,
there.
yo. Hey, that's my drink, man. I'm an old fashioned drinker. Hey, shout out to all the women that know me for the old fashions, yo. It's a lot of women that, hey, I know they're going out on dates now. Like, yeah, I'll try an old fashioned. Hey, if your chick tells you, yeah, I'll take an old fashioned, just know she done ran through some real niggas. Hey, she done ran through, that's so,
she
that's so.
she might have ran. She might have ran your way.
Hey. I'm a holy person. I ain't involved in none of that. This thing,
Nah.
why you always trying to implicate me or something?
Nah. But yeah, let's go ahead and get the show started. I guess we can circle back to the debt ceiling thing. While
Debt
we're at it.
ceiling, debt ceiling, debt ceiling.
Um,
So for those people who do not know what the heck a debt ceiling is, first of all, you've been hearing about it a lot. Can you explain to the people what this debt ceiling is?
so essentially, debt ceiling is what debt ceiling is basically the maximum debt that has been set by our government on how deep we can go into debt. And you know the country, we sell a lot of treasuries, we sell a lot of debt to whether it's foreign entities, um you know people, citizens can buy into them as well. But we set this number to kind of, it's supposed to be like a check and balance thing, for lack of better words. But we're running up against that number, right? We're running up. It's like when you're in your car and but you down, that gas light come on. It's like, but it's the opposite. We ain't getting low on debt. We getting higher and higher in debt. And the government, they keep on pushing this number higher. And for anyone who knows, simple economics, at some point this number can't keep going high, like without extreme implications. Um, so I think that looking at the decision that has been made, it looks like we're going to raise it again. And with the current economic climate we're in, we're in a recession. Um, it's only going to make the landing much harder.
Hey, let me go ahead and break it down, man. You ever been in a situationship and she has, or if you're a woman, he has that fire? Like, it's just like, yo, hey, we gotta chill. But you keep finding a way to come back to that fire.
It's getting
Debt
hot.
ceiling, the debt ceiling is that fire. Okay. The US government keeps on pushing that line. Okay. The debt ceiling is a farce. The US government is saying, oh, hey, we're not going to go any higher. You're going to go higher and you're going to enjoy it. So this debt ceiling, it's a farce. We continue to spend and we're not, there's no end in sight.
None.
Now, what I can say about this debt ceiling is when that situationship turns into a, hey, my period might be late. That's what this debt ceiling is. Because, hey, look, now there's always a possibility that stuff could happen. You could realize a little bit earlier and say, hey, let's go ahead and take this plan B. Or
Right.
you could brush up against that time and it's like, yo, I might have my situation pregnant. It just might be. So with the debt ceiling, like my man Josh explained, a lot of countries have our debt. Like we owe a lot of countries. If we do not pass this debt ceiling plan, the debt of the US government is not going to be A1, investment graded, as they would say.
The credit rating.
Yeah, the credit rating. And this has huge implications on everything that we do. What do I mean by that? Look, the dollar, your dollar is backed by the government. If the government is saying, hey, we can't pay our bills, the rates are going to go higher. The reason rates are going to go higher is because in times of distress, you're going to have to, more risk equals to more interest rates that you're going to have to compensate somebody to hold a dollar. So rates are going to go up. Now, there are things called treasuries, which are basically like bonds that are issued by the US government. Hey, for however long, after the debt ceiling isn't passed, there will be a shutdown. And treasuries back up a lot of things, and when I say a lot of things, I'm talking about, look, the US got a lot of debt out there. I don't know if you imagine you owe a bunch of people, but they long distance. You owe somebody, you in Baltimore, but they in Arizona. It's like, I owe them, but they're not gonna pull up. Imagine they pull up on you. That's what we're essentially looking at. Now, what I will say is the US is a big entity. Oh, and we got some breaking news. The debt ceiling bill just passed in the House, and it's now advanced to the Senate.
Okay.
So the Senate has to approve this too. So one hurdle has been passed. But hey, like I said, if the US defaults on their debt, it's going to be a tough, I would say, like 30 days, because we're not going to stay shut down forever. I think there'll be a period where it's like, people in Congress going to go back and forth, try and cut some things out of the bill, because ultimately this is a back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats are saying, well, hey, I want this in there. Republicans are saying, hey, I don't want this in there. So I think if it doesn't get passed, yeah, it's going to be a tight 30 days. You're going to see rates tick up. You're going to see a lot of assets. Boy, that market is going to take a hit. That stock market is going to take a hit. So that's the debt ceiling in a nutshell. I miss anything?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Just to kind of bandwagon on, the market taking a hit. Think that, right now with the market, I think that the tech sector really was holding up. With the Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, with the whole, advancement and hype around artificial intelligence. I was reading something, and essentially, if you take out the tech sector from the S&P 500, then it would actually be in a negative this year. So that just shows, and the S&P 500 is it's cat weight is cat weight, that's the right word. So large companies have a greater share or greater percentage of the S&P 500. It's not evenly weighted with 500 companies. So it'll get rocky, but I think that they're going to do everything in their power. When I say they, I mean the Senate and the House is going to do everything in their power. Like you said, we're over one hurdle now. So the other side of the aisle, as they say, has to have their word on the bill. And we'll get it done. But I think part of the bill was that the student loan pause is ending in think August. I think it's August. One of these upcoming months. But I think
It's
that's
actually
that.
June 30th.
Oh, June 30th. Okay, my bad. So actually, we got 30 days then. I think that's huge because that's going to have implications. On a personal finance tip for a lot of households. People for the last year or two,
Yes.
haven't had to pay. That 3, 4. I know some people. If it's income based, you're paying upwards to $1,000 plus. People are gonna have to adjust their budgets to put this expense back in there. And even right now, when the economy and personal finance is so tight, you have to wonder how that's going to go. How is that going to sit with the American people, especially as I think credit card debt has hit over $1 trillion now. So it's uh, a lot of you know indicators that things are. You may not hear about it, but the economical statistics say that families are needing to use these other types of uh, forms of payments and not cash, but credit cards or even like loans to keep them afloat. And at some point, like I said earlier, with the rates rising, typically lenders are, definitely adjusting their requirements. They're making, you got to have a higher credit score to get approved. You might have to have a little bit higher income. They may add some more restrictions, surrounding their normal policies. So it's like, when does this thing just like completely blow up, like a meteorite that came out of space?
Well, I will say this was expected. It's just the student loan pause coming to an end. It was expected. It's just we were also promised that you would get up to 20K of your student loan debt wiped off. That is on the table for removal in this debt ceiling plan. I know a lot of Republicans ain't really for that.
Right,
So,
because when they first announced it, it was like some individual states who were, vetoing the bill. Like, hey, y'all can do
hey,
that.
all I'm gonna say is Big Trump would have got it done. He would have got it done.
He
Yo,
would have got it done, but he's not in
he would have
office.
pulled up the files on all them Republicans, and he would have bribed them, yo. He's like, yo, oh, that's your little side piece. Hey, I got
Right.
the files. I got the files. Big Trump would have made it happen. But hey, like you said, man, families are under stress because when you think about it, a lot of families have bought houses and are cash and are house poor. A lot of families have bought the nice cars and they're buying these cars at the high prices with the rising interest rates. So, I mean, look, it's just it's not that much room to go in terms of this bubble bursting, but nobody can time it. If this debt ceiling plan gets approved, everybody's going to applaud, right? Ooh, great time. But you also have to be concerned about, what's inside of this debt deal. So one thing that is on the table is uh, a decrease in spending. So a lot of federal government workers, I know they're concerned
Yeah.
with, okay, am I going to see like a pay raise for the next couple of years? That is something that is being discussed. So it getting approved is just the first thing. The second
Right.
thing is like, what's in the details? So I do know the Housing and Urban Development HUD, who is responsible for things like like Section 8 funding for
Mm-hmm.
HUD is in the bill. So they like, hey, we're gonna do that. But the student loan stuff, that's not in the bill. There's a decrease in spending, and I think the IRS there's a lower amount of funding that's being provided to the IRS. So yeah, you really just got to see, okay, what's in the details, which we'll understand that once this
Hmm.
thing actually gets signed, if it gets signed. If this thing does not get signed, like I said, just hey, brace yourself, you know, um, pause, but just get some Vaseline, just ride it out. Yeah, because it's
No
gonna be
pun
a tough,
intended.
yeah. If if it doesn't get approved.
Right. But like you
Yeah.
said, even if it does get approved, there are going to be so many details to unwrap on the bill. Um, and like you said, each side is looking for something to to something along the lines of their agenda, especially with the we're not what maybe a year and a half away from the next election. So you got to think even from that standpoint. Um, Now that I've seen uh Trump is attacking DeSantis, for the Republican nomination. So it's almost that time again where it's just going to be so many political incentivized moves or political influence moves, I should say, that you just got to really keep your eyes open as to how genuine or how legitimate are these politicians moving. Um, are they moving for the sake of your vote, or do they actually really care about you? Which we know a lot of times, unfortunately, it's for their personal gain.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of shine a spotlight on 2023, and Josh touched on it a little bit. He mentioned how certain sectors have kind of carried the economy. So going into 2023, the consensus was, yeah, we're going to be in a recession. Markets are probably going to be flat, but the S&P is close to double digits. I want to say
Yep,
like maybe 8% or something like that.
yep,
Um,
coming up on 10.
so some of your best investments. I want to go over a list of some of your best and worst investments in 2023. So some of your best investments that you could have made thus far in 2023. High yield savings accounts. This isn't the top. This isn't the best performing, but high yield savings accounts, because of the increase in interest rates, you could get a high yield savings account that's giving you 5%.
Yeah, I see.
So,
I think Apple's giving 4.2, I believe, something like that.
hey,
And then,
look, if you have the cash to sit up, that's a quick way to make a little bit of money. And then inflation has come down a little bit too. So, you
mhm,
know, that's a good place to save some money. Uh, the S&P, like I said, the S&P is up around 7 to 8%. So that's also been doing well. Now, tech stocks, like my guy Josh mentioned, your Teslas, your Microsofts, your Apples, your Nvidias, these things have been booming. I'm talking about triple digit increases in 2023. So it's been, hey, if you invested in any one of these, you are feeling good. Now some of the worst investments, um, flipping houses. Flipping houses in
mm,
2023 has not been as fruitful. Now, there aren't any well, I don't have any hard stats on that, but I know I've talked to different players in the industry, and they've told me like, hey, some of their projections, they had to scale back on that because
right.
prices weren't rising as they expected. Now, that's not to say prices have been plummeting, just been a little stagnant.
Yeah, a
Um,
little scale back.
yeah, another area, banking. So a lot of bank stocks have taken a bloodbath. You know,
Yep,
um, Part of that is the exposure to regional banks. Um, Earlier in the year, a lot of banks were getting runs. So
yep.
runs is
Silicon
basically,
Valley.
yeah, Silicon Valley. There was another one like First Republic. They got
Yep.
bought up by JP Morgan. Big bank take little bank. But a lot of these people, they were making investments with your deposits, and those investments were into higher yielding bonds. And when rates went up, the value of these things went down. And if
Mhm.
people come and they say, hey, I need to collect, I need to take some of my money out, then you have a bank run because everybody's panicking. So the banking sector was one of the worst performing sectors in 2023. But overall, like I said, if you look at some of the major indexes, you have the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq has been booming just because of tech, and then
Tech,
also
yeah.
hey, you doing all right. So your 401k should be doing all right now. If you were
Yeah, for this year. Yeah, if you're in like large
yeah, for
caps.
this year.
Yeah, if you're in large caps, you're not too risk on, then yeah, your 401ks and retirement plans, you should definitely be seeing a slight turnaround from the performance that you saw in 2022. And like Toby said, you know, there in any uh, economic climate, there are opportunities somewhere, and there may not always be super grand. Um, like you said, these high yield savings are 4 to 5%. That's a lot higher than what we've seen in the last 5-10 years. So um, from their perspective, that's almost double. I mean, I know I've seen high yield savings like the mid twos, over the last several years. So to see them now in the 4 5s, like that's 100% jump, in respect to where the high yield savings account rate is typically at. And like you see on the other end with real estate, um, the thing with real estate right now is that people, because of the interest rates are so high, people are reluctant to move because why would I move and pick up a new mortgage at a much higher interest rate, especially if you purchased anytime prior to 2022 or mid 2021, you're definitely looking at 4% or lesser. So I think that right there is somewhat causing real estate investors to maybe hold inventory a little bit longer. Just and also just like I said, just from a personal finance standpoint, it's harder for people to save up to buy a home when the inflation is kicking butt. In the grocery store, everything we touch now. Like I remember at first, what was the first thing that really rose in price?
Eggs.
Yeah, it was eggs, and then before you know it, like dang, it's just everywhere. Like I know the
Crabs.
only thing, yeah, like I think the only that's left that ain't been touched is Arizona iced teas. Everything else is up. Is up by something. Whether it's pennies, a quarters, up a couple of dollars, everything up. So I think that is affecting people being able to buy these homes. But I think the people who are winning the real estate are the people who are still buying like multi units
Okay.
because the rental market is going to continue to heat up. One, because of cost of living, but two, I think that our generation isn't so pressed on owning a home. The American dream looks way different now, and I believe that our generation, we prioritize location and having the ability to get up and move whenever we want to. So versus locking in a mortgage and having to go through closing costs when buying or selling a home. We're like, hey, I can rent for a year, and then next year if I want to move to Miami or Houston or wherever, Chicago, California, I can do that without a lot of costs on the back end. Of course, outside of relocation expenses, but um, so that's just, and then I'm pretty sure the experienced real estate investors are definitely keeping tabs on these different factors that go into how where they're choosing to invest. What markets they're choosing to invest in. And I mean, as we know, the Midwest is still the cheapest. That hasn't changed. Um, so if you want to go set up shop in like your Ohio's or your Michigans, your Kentucky's, the Midwest, go out there, Farmer Joe, set up shop.
Yeah, and I would say another reason why the rental market is still doing well, inventory. You might want to go somewhere, you might have the bread, but then inventories are still low in terms of housing.
Yep.
Now, hey, look, a lot of uh, mortgage companies are getting into the business of, hey, let's help take some of that burden off of you. So one of the biggest mortgage companies, Rocket, Rocket Mortgage, they are actually offering 1% down payments on mortgages. So they're going to pay the other 2% that is typically required on, uh, like the minimum you have to put down is 3% for Rocket's conventional loan. So
Oh
basically,
wow, 3% for conventional.
yeah, so they have this program.
Wow.
Now it's for low to moderate income earning Americans.
Okay.
I didn't see what the threshold was.
So it's income based. Okay, got you.
Yeah, it's income based. They call it the One Plus program. So it says that a home buyer only needs to make a down payment of 1% of the purchase price, and Rocket Mortgage will cover the remaining 2% needed to reach their threshold for conventional loans. On top of that, they're also going to eliminate the monthly mortgage insurance fee, the PMI for the buyer. So typically, if you put down less than 20%, you're going to pay PMI. So they're trying to help out the low income home buyer. But this, I mean, this is helpful. This is helpful. But
Right.
with the rate environment, I mean, it's still going to have some impact. But hey, this is helpful. And I think a lot of these companies, it's I'm gonna scratch your back, you scratch my back, because I mean they want to see their mortgage activity continue to tick upwards. Uh,
Mhm.
but look, it's a lot of, like my guy Josh was talking about, it's a lot of reasons why people ain't really so excited to get into the market, because you're still going to be paying for something that wouldn't necessarily be your ideal home, because it's not that much of a selection out there. And then you're also going to be capped by, your monthly budget, your monthly mortgage budget, because of the rates and then the housing prices. So, I mean, yeah, it's tight.
And one last thing on a real estate investing tip is that some investors are having to increase their holding costs. So because you're not getting the houses off as quick, um, every month that you're not that the units aren't rented out, that's you come out of pocket to cover that mortgage that typically would have been covered, or holding costs in the sense of you haven't been able to sell the renovation yet. So that's cutting into your back end profits once you sell it. So um, the holding costs, like I said, that's another factor that is lowering the margins, on real estate investing right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and one tip I will say is, if you are in the service industry, you might want to make a list of some of your top clients and send them a little thank you card, send them a little thank you note, because this is, I mean, look, there's just a lot of cracks in the economy, and you don't want to lose some of your cash cows just because you had a big head, right? We get it. In the service industry, it's like, hey, everybody had money, everybody's paying. It's like, yo, I'm good forever. Hey, when things
Right.
get tough, you want to make sure you know those clients that have been paying you faithfully, and just take an initiative. Take some initiative. Maybe it's even like a little card. Maybe you could send it to them. I don't know. Just little touches like that will make them remember you when their pockets get a little tough. Because hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Like, especially y'all little OnlyFans girls that's been running it up. Hey, look, you better, those people that's
Yeah.
paying you extra. Hey, you better do a meet and greet and greet the meat, 'cause hey, you
You
just
gotta
gotta
put
be,
you gotta put a little extra on top.
hey, you gotta be a little hands-on, because hey, things will dry up. No pun intended.
But no, that's a great point you make. I think that's just a life lesson itself. And just, being grateful for your customers. And like you said, it's those small touches that people really remember. You know what I'm saying? Like they appreciate you, and it goes much further than you can think. It's like almost like you're investing into your clientele, from a service worker perspective, and that person's gonna remember that card you sent, and they're gonna come back to you every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's another thing. When things get tight, everybody starts to cut their prices. So now things are getting tight. I'm going to this barber. I've been paying them $60 for a haircut, but things getting tight. Now it's a barber down the street saying, yo, I'm going back down to 40. Well, guess what? Hey, things are a little tight, man. I'm thinking about the
You
extra
save that
20 that I
20,
could save.
right?
Yeah. So if you take that extra initiative, maybe just send them a text. Hey, what's going on, man? Just wanted to say thank you for all the business you've given me throughout the years. If you ever need any favors, a last minute cut, some, hey, hit me up. I'll get you in.
Hey, I know we're gonna officially be in hell when barbers start price matching. If barbers start price matching, we are gonna officially be in hell.
Hey, look, all I'm gonna say is prices have been going up in the services industry for a while. Hey, when things get tough and these customers are saying, hey, look, I can't afford to, spend what if you're paying $50 for a haircut, you're getting that, let's say once every week, because people be going, I can't afford to pay $200 on this haircut on top of everything else. You gonna have some barbers that's like, all right, let me realign my strategy. You gonna have some barbers
Right.
that definitely do that. So, like I said, just take a little initiative. Take a little initiative. Just find a way to do a small gestures go a long way. That's what I say.
Facts.
Yeah. Oh, I want to give an update on Series I bonds because we've talked about Series I bonds in prior episodes. We actually started talking about Series I bonds when it was given like 9.63%. So
Yeah.
Series I bonds have been readjusted and they're now giving 4.3%, I believe.
Oh
Now,
wow. So they fell about 50%.
yeah, because they're tied to inflation. So as inflation
Right.
comes down,
Go down.
rate goes down. But whatever rate, whenever you get a Series I bond, you are locked in at that rate for 6 months. So if you had that 9.63%, you had 6 months of getting that 9.63%. And then you went down to 6 months of getting the other rate, which was, I think prior to this 4.3, it was like 7% or something like that.
Mhm.
So you had 6 months of that. And then after that 6 months, then you're going to be bumped down to 4.3%. So it's not a bad rate, but look, it's half of what it was, right? And then you can also get that rate with a high yield savings account. So I would not recommend that you get a Series I bond right now. If you got a Series I bond when the rate was 9.62%, guess what? You've probably held that for a year. So if you holding that for a year, you have the option to cash out. Now, if you cash out, we gave you the fine print. You have to forfeit 3 months of interest. But before y'all start wilding this out and saying, oh, CC Smack gave me bad information, sit your $5 ass down and realize that time you couldn't find an investment that was basically risk-free that was giving you 9.63%. Most investments that were risk-free were giving you less than 3%, if that. So you giving up 3 months of interest, not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Right.
Now, what I would say is your timing is crucial. If you're cashing out on a Series I bond, Series I bonds do not pay out partial interest. So it's in your best interest to cash out at the beginning of the month, right? So 1st through the 5th, because if you cash out during the 20th, you're not going to get any partial interest. It only pays interest after 1 full month. So that's something to keep in mind. But like I said, if you got in when it was 9.62%, yeah, you made a nice little chunk of change off of a risk-free investment. When I say risk-free investment, you went to sleep, you knew your money was going to be there, and you knew you was going to get your interest. Unlike other investments where, if you invest in the stock market, hey, you wake up, sometimes you might wake up in a cold sweat because some news just passed, and it's you know that feeling, bro. You know that
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
and you get some crazy news, and it's like, yo, I just put X amount in this stock,
And the pre market is just bleeding, and the
Hey,
pre market is bleeding, and you like, oh man, couldn't have worse timing.
yes, sir. Hey, but since we kind of shifted into talking about stocks, is there any updated news with Tesla? Tesla's been a darling this year. Any news on Tesla?
I mean, I haven't heard anything specifically. I know that there was still there's been talks that the cyber sorry not the cyber truck the semi the 18-wheeler I think that they may be starting to let me take a look here. I bet
They still taking niggas money for that Cybertruck that they never gonna deliver on.
yo right, that's what I'm saying. But I think that oh yeah, so with Tesla, Ford that is expanding into the charging network. And I think that's big because what Ford is doing here is they are looking to kind of leverage, what they're trying to basically leverage Tesla's network. And what's going to happen is it's going to allow not only greater range for Ford's cars and trucks on that electrical platform, but they're looking at it as a strategic move to possibly boost the sales for their own EVs. So I know like right now they only have the Mach-E, the Mustang SUV variant, but I think more importantly they're looking towards the future and saying, hey, how can we? Because we've been saying this for like the last couple of years on Tesla that Tesla's number one advantage was their charging network. So I think by Ford kind of not kind of, but by Ford, locking in to this agreement with Tesla, they are looking to, and what'll happen is how it's going to work is that there'll be the cars will have an adapter that they can use to fit Ford's cars. Is that it will allow for greater range in Ford's EVs because that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest hindrance right now with EVs is the charging network, especially like in the Midwest. It's a pretty vast charging network in California and then along the East Coast. But I think as you like kind of get to like maybe like the Southeast and then kind of moving up towards like the Midwest, it can be kind of rough there. Like, it's not like a gas stations, that come a dime a dozen. The EV stations. I know a lot of the manufacturers now who are releasing their EV vehicles are putting in the software where you put in your trip and it takes you on it maps you on a journey that you passing by various EV stations to make sure that you don't run out of power.
Yeah, when I think of this move, I think of the saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." So Ford has EVs, Tesla, of course, has EVs, and them teaming up is putting out a notice to other automakers. It's like, hey, look, we teaming up over here. And let me even stop saying teaming up because this is Ford latching on to Tesla, right? So
Right.
Tesla's the EV giant. Ford is like, yo, big bro, Ford is calling Tesla big bro here. And I think it
Yes.
puts other automakers on notice because now it's just, more market share that Tesla is going to get a piece of. And I think it's a synergy for both Ford and Tesla. And, you got other competitors kind of just sitting on the sidelines. So, is Tesla going to be the big bro to other EV makers? I mean, could they emerge as like, yo, we'll take all y'all little niggas under our wings? Who knows?
And, right. And I think also it may be just a thing of Tesla's networking station is, networking ecosystem is so established. Some companies will find it cheaper to just pay Tesla to use theirs than to try to build up their own from ground up.
Oh yeah, and look, that's extra side money for Tesla. They already have these. Now maybe they have to upgrade the capacity of these chargers, but I don't think that's
Right.
going to be the same cost of, actually just building a brand new one. So for
Yep.
them, it's kind of like, hey, I already got this infrastructure. It's just a little extra side money that I could spend on a weekend or something like that. So hey, it's a good move for Tesla, man. Great move for Tesla. And I think it's a great move for Ford as well. Like you said, they don't have to worry about building anything on their own.
Yep.
hmm So yeah,
Yes.
man, more to come on that. I want to warn everybody. So there's been a rise in ERC scams. So what exactly is an ERC scam? The IRS put out a note basically warning people on employee retention credit claims. So this is when during the pandemic, if you held on to all your employees, there was a credit that you could claim, and there are just a lot of random accounting companies popping up saying, yo, do you have a business? We could get you so and so amount. This is money that the IRS has held out for you. And it's actually a pretty rigorous process to qualify for this, but people is getting cashed out. And I mean, look, you've been, what is it? Million dollars worth of game. They got their business segment where it's basically a pay for play,
Yeah.
where it's just, hey, random people come up and they be spewing some of the wildest stuff. They be on some, yo,
Wild.
give me 10 minutes. I'm gonna get you 25 bands. I
Right.
will make sure your business qualifies. Yo, the IRS issued a statement warning on employee retention credit claims. They say false claims generate compliance risks for people and businesses claiming credit improperly. They're going to come for you. They will come for you. What's that Liam Neeson movie Taken? Hey, they have a special set of skills. They will come for you. They will find you. And they will tax your ass with additional fines and penalties and possible jail time, depending on how much damage you did. So if you went ahead and did that, hey, you might as well just go ahead and correct them statements off the bat versus waiting to get caught, because them fees is going to pile up. Them penalties, them interest is going to pile up.
Yeah, and I mean, even though I know we mentioned earlier, potentially the IRS, quote unquote, being somewhat defunded with the new debt ceiling bill, they have made it known that they are, you know, picking up on audits of companies who file for, different types of financial assistance and hardship uh, during the pandemic. So, if your company is one of those, then maybe under a little bit extra scrutiny than companies who didn't apply for those specially allocated funds. So, like Toby said, if you know that you improperly receive benefits, go ahead and pay it back before you be paying the IRS back in money and your time, which is jail time.
Mhm. Facts. Yeah, man. So just just do your due diligence out there. If it's too good to be true, it's probably a scam. If it's too good to be true, trust me on that one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. What else we want to get into today? Speaking of
Oh, he
I was going to say black taxpayers. There was a study. There was a study conducted, and the IRS is trying to correct the bias towards black taxpayers. They say black taxpayers are they have a higher likelihood of being audited than other taxpayers. And I
of
mean,
course.
look, yeah. I don't think that's news, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm interested to see how they're gonna pull a fast one on us. And oh yeah, we looked at the study, we addressed it. Like, come on, yo, come
Right.
on, yo. Y'all see what we
Yeah.
doing on World Star. Y'all see what we doing on social media. Y'all are auditing us left and right.
How
Okay.
about y'all? They auditing this in real time.
Hey, and I will say some of that is on us because we don't know how to properly hide our money. It's like sometimes you get money and it's like, yo, I gotta show out, and a lot of
Hmm.
these things, uh, it just doesn't make sense with some of the things that you're showing on your tax return. Oh, you had
Right.
to take this huge loss, but hey, look, you're showing so much money. And
Right.
I don't know the formal process for an IRS audit, but like I said, if you feel like you're getting away with something, just be discreet. Why you gotta show it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like he said, if you know you're doing something illegal, and if you know that you're not, your money that you made is not on paper, you don't have a paper trail, a legal paper trail, then flashing money on the internet is just stupid. We're not condoning, any illegal behavior, but we're just saying it's foolish to flash non-tax money on the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's foolish to flash guns on the internet as well. But I just want to
Yes.
a little jab in. Shout out to John Moran. I mean, look, the internet has already flamed him long enough. I just
He didn't do
hope.
anything illegal.
Hey, I just hope that he bounces back from this. He's a high earning young man. And, look,
I didn't realize he was that young. He's like only 23.
yeah. Oh, you was flashing guns at 23 too?
So I don't blame him listening to Young Boy, but I think the reactions he gets, the reactions that Young Boy causes him to perform, it is a little worrisome. But it's more so you're the face of $1 billion organization. I was actually talking to one of my boys about this. That I think that a lot of time these players, they don't understand the complex side of the business aspect of the basketball organizations, primarily the NBA organizations. So you're representing a $1 billion organization. You're not just representing your family and people who have your last name. And in John Morant's case, like you're literally the face of $1 billion organization. And I think this is a conversation that you can go many ways, but you can say, hey, why didn't the NRA step in and say, hey, NRA supports any other gun-toting American citizen, but they left the brother, and I say brother, I mean a black man out to hang in this situation. Like I say, he not doing anything. He didn't do anything criminal. Didn't break any laws. And the Colorado situation, the strip club, found him. Didn't break any laws. Um, so it's always curious to see how these organizations, especially who are you know pro gun bearing organizations, how they react differently based on the skin color of the individual who's at the center of attention.
Yeah, I don't think the NRA was never gonna get behind Ja Morant. Especially because look, he didn't do anything illegal, yes, but the NRA is basically white people. And I don't think white people relate to, oh, hey, let's go to the strip club and dangle our guns. I don't think
Right.
white people relate to, yo, what's that NBA young boy? Come on, grab your guns. Yeah, I don't think that NRA was ever going to get behind John Morant. So I'm not
Right.
surprised. Yeah.
Speaking of, who you got in the finals?
Bro, I gotta go with playoff Jimmy. The only reason why I'm going with playoff Jimmy is because he's a hardworking individual. Like he took the Heat to the finals. He took the Heat to the finals. Yes, you have some role players that are stepping up, but that team does not deserve to be in the finals. The Nuggets are more talented. I 100% get it. I feel like Jokic is gonna have a field day with Bam Adebayo, but
He is going. He might do Will Chamberlain numbers, and I hope he does.
like I said, I want to root for the underdog, so I'm gonna go with the Heat, man. But I do understand that the Nuggets are more talented than the Heat by far.
And I want to first start off by saying that Khalid Martin was robbed of the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I
You're
think he
crazy.
came. I
You're
think he came
crazy.
through very clutch. I won't say it was robbed. Okay, robbed is a reach, but I will say
Right, yo.
apparently they say he fell one vote short, but I still think that some of these awards are a popularity contest type of thing. Um, but you know, nonetheless, uh, the Heat don't have to worry about a Finals MVP because nobody on this team is getting it. I expect Jokic to yoke up Bam Adebayo. Bam having scoring 10, 12, 13 points, not gonna cut it. Not gonna cut it. Uh, Khalid Martin, I think he'll be offset by like Caldwell
Yo, what you
Paul,
call him? You call him Khalid?
Caleb Martin. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Khalid as well, but Caleb Martin, I think he'll be offset by Caldwell Paul. I expect Michael Porter Jr. to shine. I think this is gonna be his moment. And we know what Lowry's not guarding Jamal Murray. Gabe Vincent's not stopping Jamal Murray. Um, I think the only person who can stop Jamal Murray in this series would be God.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and this is a wild take. I already know it's a wild take. If the Nuggets don't sweep the Heat, I got the Heat. Because I do think the Nuggets are a better team, but I just don't think you can give the Heat a chance to, have a game 7 in the finals. So
Well, they're
I
gonna beat
think,
them in 5. Nuggets in 5.
yeah, I think if the Nuggets don't sweep them, I got the Heat. That's what I'm gonna say.
So there's a lot there. So they don't sweep them. That could mean the Heat won one game. But you're saying if they win one, they're gonna win 4. So you're saying they can't win 2
If
or
the
3?
Heat can win one game, I think they'll just grind it out and win another game.
Because it starts in Denver, so Denver has the home court advantage, right?
Hey,
Right.
like
Got a
I said,
record.
I started off saying this was a wild take, but I
Yes,
believe
there you go.
if they do not get swept, I'm going with Miami.
Yeah. I think in a couple of weeks we have to edit this and beep it, beep out that wild take because it's blasphemy.
Hey,
But no, the Heat are a team. Like you said, the Heat are a team. Like you said, they beat the Celtics. They were up 3-0. They gave up 3, but they came through on the road and won in TD Garden. So anything's possible. But I just think that the supporting cast, they just gonna have to be. I mean, Caleb Martin, he might have to give him a 30-point game at some point this series. He might have to. He went for about 23 the other night, so he's not too far off. He's been going for a dub pretty consistently these last few games, so he got
Yeah,
it.
but
I think
you thinking he was Eastern Conference, he was robbed of Eastern Conference MVP. That's wild. That's wild.
that's not as wild as you saying that they don't get swept, they're gonna win it. So
Touche.
all right, it
Man.
pops off though tomorrow. So yeah, we're gonna see.
Hey, episode 229, CC
Yes,
Smack.
sir.
We want to make sure that you know where you could support us at. If you go to ccsmackpodcast.com, you can find our merch. Please support us. Shout out to everybody who's been copping merch. We had a couple orders come in. So shout out to everyone who's been copping. ccsmackpodcast.com. You can also find the latest episode on ccsmackpodcast.com. Also, make sure you're following us on Instagram. That is at ccsmackpodcast. And we're also at ccsmackpodcast on Instagram, on Twitter as well.
Correct.
If you're looking for me, bro, one thing about me, like when I'm grinding and I'm hustling, like I don't really like to be posting that much. But if you are looking for me, hey, you can find me on social media at Long Live TOBE. Don't hit me up with no crazy stuff. No,
Only hit him up if you're really serious about a barber shop. If you're really serious about a barber.
Hey, I like that. I like that. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. Where can they find you?
At Josh D Lifestyle on Twitter and Instagram. Like Toby said, we appreciate the support of the podcast at CC Smack on social media and ccsmackpodcast.com. Don't forget to share with your family, your friends. You know, we're very friendly and outgoing podcast. And, you know, we just enjoy spreading the information.
Yes, sir.
That sometimes people may not comprehend as well or dissect, but that's what we're here for. You know, we do this out of spread love, stay positive in the evil world, and blessings will come your way.
Nice. All right, man. Hey, episode 229. Thank you for sticking with us. Till next time, y'all be safe.
Peace.
Peace.